Everybody. I hope you all can hear me. Good day, everybody. I'm going to try to see if I can get some people or someone at least to come in and tell me if I can be heard. Just let me know if you can hear me. But today we are talking about adult bullies and nice bullies. Um yes, this is a thing. Um and it can exist in adults and children, of course. Of course, you always hear about children being bullies, but there are adult bullies as well. You can hear me? Okay, good. Thank you. Hey, Charity. But I'm going to go through adult bullies in the negative way, and then I'm going to go to nice bullies and talk about nice bullies. And first and foremost, let's talk about narcissists. Now, narcissists are naturally spiritual bullies. Okay, there's nothing more need to be said about narcissists. If you've experienced them, you've experienced them. You know what I'm talking about. Um, Now, overall, I would say that most bullies have been bullied. They probably have had a tumultuous home relationship, a home experience. Um, People are mean to them at home, physically, mentally. They're probably neglected, and all types of things. That's probably what you're going to see when you see a child bully, and those child bullies grow up to be adults. All right. Um, a lot of bullies are insecure. Now, I'm talking about adults, but of course, all of these characteristics exist in children because of, you know, child bullies grow up to be adults. And some people are decent people as children, and then they grow up to be adult bullies for whatever reason. But yeah, there's usually some type of insecurity there. Um, they wish there was something else, or looked some other type of way, or wish they had something. Some grew up poor. I've seen a lot of bullies who were actually very poor, like they would wear the same clothes every day. Their clothes would be dirty. They'd come to school hungry and things like that. And then they grew up in adulthood, into high school and stuff, and they still they just found ways to make themselves feel better by, bullying and putting other people down. Now, a lot of bullies do things, like I said, to make themselves feel bigger and better about themselves, because for whatever reason they do feel insecure. And bullies often have a very jealous or envious spirit about them, like I said, because they're not happy with their own lives. They try to bring other people down emotionally, and try to make them feel the way that they're feeling. All right. Hi, Miko. How are you today? There are more than just physical bullies. You have the bullies that push people around on the playground and stuff like that, or physical bullies, but there's also verbal, emotional, and even financial bullies. And as children, you do have the kids that take lunch money, but there are adult financial bullies as well. All right. There is a very good movie, as I'm talking about bullies. It's called The Experiment, and it's Adrian Brody and Forrest Whitaker. Now, in this movie, they did this experiment where they just take these common people and they bring them into this prison, right? And what they do is they give the people who didn't have very much power outside of prison, they gave them the power and the authority inside the prison, right? So people who came from, for example, Forrest Whitaker's character, he was a working class man. He didn't make much money at all. He still lived at home with his mom, all right? And his mom would emasculate him. So what they did was they brought him into the prison as a prison guard. So they gave him all type of authority and power. And the experiment was to see how people treated each other when the roles were flipped and they were given a different type of power. Now, let me tell you, in this movie, he became a very ugly person. He became a very mean person when he was given that power. He would pee on people. He would, beat people with the club and stuff like that. I mean, it was just a very interesting look to see how people behaved when the tables were turned. And it's very interesting, and it made me think about um, the topic I'm talking about today, bullies, and adult bullies at that. All right. Hey, welcome guys. Welcome to the live. So that's part about negative adult bullies, but now we have a such thing called a nice bully. You have adult nice bullies. And I thought about this because I thought about myself. I am an adult nice bully, and I'm going to explain to you what I mean by this. Now, just bullying in general is somebody um, who gives unwanted or unsolicited intrusion into somebody else's life or space, right? So with a nice bully, they often insert themselves and insert their help unsolicited. Okay, there you go. And with nice bullies, they also give unwanted, unsolicited advice. Nice bullies show up uninvited, even if their intentions are good. Nice bullies have very good intentions, but is not wanted or solicited. All right, and that's the thing. That's the thing about it. All right. So you're infringing on someone else's space and time, and they didn't necessarily ask for what it is you're giving them. All right. Now another one is giving time, energy, or even money unsolicited. Believe it or not, some people get very offended even if you give them money and they didn't ask you for it. You know, it's true. It's a thing, because it's not that sometimes people are necessarily asking for your help. Sometimes they just want you to listen. And that's what a lot of us have to get. We have to understand that sometimes people just want a listening ear. They don't want you to do anything. They don't want you to offer anything. They just want you to be there and to listen. And so sometimes people become nice bullies and they don't even know it or understand it. And they don't understand why the other person is angry or offended. It's because they didn't want what you're offering. They only want you to accept what it is they're giving, and that's them talking to you, all right, or expressing themselves to you. So to basically wrap this up, the way to stand up to adult mean bullies and nice bullies is to say no. No can hurt sometimes, but no is a full sentence. You say it, stop, and that's it, you know, and that person should respect your boundaries when you're saying no, even if what they're giving you is actually a good thing and they're being nice to you. Talk to somebody else about it. I'm big on counseling. Always speak to somebody else about it. Get a second opinion on how to handle things and express yourself. All right. Another thing is learn to defend yourself. If you're dealing with a physical bully, you know, go out, get some classes, learn how to defend yourself. If you're dealing with a verbal bully, learn how to come up with different responses to people. If you're dealing with a nice bully, learn how to come up with responses to turn them down or tell them no nicely and genuinely. And last but not least, unfortunately, sometimes what you have to do to break these bullying type relationships and bonds is actually just cut ties. If it comes to that, if it's that extreme, you know what I mean? Even if somebody's too nice, even if you're dealing with a nice bully, sometimes you just have to cut ties and be like, okay, well, I can only deal with this person to a certain extent, because they're going to start offering me all these things and wanting to come over and do this and this and that. And I don't want all of that. And that's okay too. All right. But yeah, just stand your ground, have boundaries, be aware of adult bullies, be aware of nice bullies, and infringing on other people's personal space. You know what I mean? And if you haven't seen the movie The Experiment, it is a very good one on adult bullies and how people actually act and react when the roles are flipped. All right. So yeah, I want to thank you all for joining me today on this live. If you haven't already subscribe to the channel, please do so. Check out some of my other videos. Check out my podcast, my playlist. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next live, and you all be blessed.